Hi everyone, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Lisa.
Welcome to the Beagles Workshop, where our desire is to bring God glory in everything that we do.
Today in the Beagles Workshop, we're going to be working on an easy woodworking project. It is a cell phone stand. You can see here that we started with a sheet of 3/8 thick ambrosia maple. We're going to begin our project at the saw stop table saw. We actually bought this sheet of ambrosia maple at the Klingspor extravaganza that they have every year. If you've not gone to that, you should definitely check it out. It's in October in Hickory. Here you can see Johnny working at the saw stop table saw. He is ripping this piece of ambrosia maple down into 3.5-inch strips. I think we were able to get 4 strips out of this one sheet of ambrosia maple. And we will be moving over to the miter saw in just a minute to start working on cutting these pieces to length. We'll be making 2 portions of the cell phone stand. There will be the top portion, which will be 7 inches, and then the bottom portion, which will be 3 inches. You can see over here at the DeWalt miter saw, Johnny is using a stop to help him measure accurately, as well as using a tape measure to check his work. He's working on cutting the 7-inch strips first, and then he adjusts his stop and cuts the bottom portion, which are 3 inches. Once we have all of these cut, we will then be moving to the next step. On the laser, we had actually made a template that we use to help us when we're getting ready for this step of the project. He is over at the Rikon bandsaw. He is setting the stop here. He is measuring, and what he's doing is he is creating slits in the top and bottom portion of the cell phone holder. I'll be zooming in so you can see exactly what that looks like. He'll do all the top pieces first, and then he'll do the bottom pieces. Over on the bandsaw, he was able to do those fairly quickly. Here is an up close few seconds of the notches that we're getting ready to finish over at the scroll saw, but this is the beginning of that notch. Once we had all the tops done, he moved on to the bottom portion. Again, we have that template that we use. He readjusts his stop, and he's able to do that same process on the bottom portion of the cell phone stand. Once we had that complete, we used that template and we took it over to our work table. He used a pencil to draw on that small strip there. What we were going to do with that is at the scroll saw, we will finish notching out that piece in the center, as well as round those corners on the top and bottom portion of the cell phone stands. It just gives it really a nice aesthetic look. It's now time to move over to the scroll saw, and you will see here Johnny is scrolling out that notch. Zooming in to get a little bit of a closer look, letting the blade do the work. Staying true to the cut line. And here is an even more detailed look or closer look. I even got in on a little bit of the scroll saw action and was able to sit and scroll out one of the bottom pieces of the cell phone stand. Letting the blade do the work and then following that cut line as accurately as I could. For the corners, we even rounded those as well. We moved on over to the sander there. You can see He's smoothing out those rounded corners. This is a Win sander. And again, being a husband and wife team, I was also able to get in on helping round out those edges at the sander. This was the top portion here of the cell phone stand. A lot of sanding goes into your projects, and so we moved over again to the workstation, and you can see Johnny sanding the top, me sanding the tops and bottoms, making sure it was smooth on all sides and portions of the cell phone stand's top and bottom. And still more sanding went into this project to get into the interior areas. There we used this hand sander here to get into all the angles and smooth out those as well. After we completed that, we were ready to move over to the laser. We used the McPowell 22 watt diode laser, and what we were going to laser engrave on this particular cell phone stand was love God, love others, and live it out. That is our church slogan. And so you can see here that the laser is laser engraving on the top portion of the cell phone stand. Here is it after the laser had finished. Johnny then moved over to the finishing station, and we took a lacquer and did several coats of lacquer and let it dry in between each coat. This is kind of how the cell phone stand goes together. The bottom portion, the top portion sliding together there. You can see Johnny is plugging in the cord, setting the phone on the stand, and then the cord actually has a place to go between those two notch cutouts so that it sits and it doesn't tip over, and the cord has somewhere to be. This is the finished project here. Love God, love others, live it out. Thank you guys for watching.